Sup, y'all? I am your host, Taylor Onion, and this is Hang Time, where we focus on amplifying the stories of women in sports. I am very excited to be back. Special bonus episode today. We are back this week with Beks, whose dad, you may know, the official dad now of the Winter Olympics. He has gone viral in the last couple of weeks on TikTok, thanks to Beks posting about him. Beks, welcome. Let's get some Hang Time.
Thank you.
Yeah, very excited to have you here. So I came across your original post of your dad. You kind of shared a little bit about, he's on a Euro trip and he's going to go to the games last minute. For folks who maybe haven't seen that video, would you share just a little bit about it?
Yeah. So basically my dad's been on his retirement bucket list, like Euro trip, for the last month as of today, I think. And he realized that he was close to Milan and the Olympics were going on, and we've always whenever we're in a city where there are Olympic rings, we take photos with them or we take photos of them. So this is actually lucky number 7 for him. Milan was the 7th city that he's been to that had the Olympics, but we've always been in cities where it was just after or just before the Olympics had happened in that location. And last year, my dad and I were at the Olympics Museum in Lake Placid, and he said to me, it would be really cool if we could just get over to LA in 2028. And I was like, yeah, it would be. He's like, I just want to go experience it. I was like, yeah, let's try to make that happen. But he realized when he was in Europe that he was close to Milan, and he and my sister are the huge women's hockey fans. I'm a hockey fan, I'm a women's hockey fan, but I'm more women's soccer. And so he really wanted to see USA versus Canada. He loves that rivalry so much, and so
Who
he's like,
doesn't?
and he was like, "I can skip a couple of places and go down to the Olympics." So my sister was looking for tickets for him and couldn't find them, and then he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I couldn't find the tickets. I'm still gonna go to Milan and just see what I can get into. Maybe I can find some tickets." But he was like, "I could just wander the fan village. I'll be happy that way." Going to stay at a hostel. But he's like, "Do you have any connections, through TikTok that you can reach out to?" And I was like, "Give me a few minutes." And honestly, I went to the website for the Olympics and I found him tickets, easily. I don't know if it was because I'm in Canada and my sister was in the US or something, but got him tickets. And reached out to him a few minutes later. I was like, "Yep, I got him." He's like, "Okay, what do I owe you?" I said, "Don't pay me back. These are from somebody." He goes, "All right, well, I'm gonna have to thank them. And do you want me to record? Should I record from the match?" And I was like, "If you want to." He's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll send some content over." And that's where it kind of started. And I was like, "Okay, maybe just do the hot to go dance at the game, and people will love that." He's like, "I'll have to learn that
Right.
one." But that's really how it started, and so I posted this video "Hey, people, my dad's going to the Olympics. Anybody looking for somebody to report from the Olympic? I don't know what the content's gonna look like, but anybody looking for." And he's actually not just 60, he's about to be 70. My dad is 69 and a half. So,
Oh my gosh.
he's yeah, so it's also really amazing to just see how much he's learned and how much he's doing, on his own this trip and navigating on his own.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's how it started, is I posted a video thinking it would just get, a few people would be like, "That would be cute. That would be cool." I don't know, I didn't expect it to get, 3.5 million views and all of it. I didn't expect any of this. But it's not
Yeah.
honestly, I just posted that video. It's my dad who really, kinda won people over, so kudos to him. He's a natural content creator.
He's been killing it. His content has been fantastic. You, of course, have been reposting that as well. Parents, I think, generally don't have a concept of how the internet can really work. Do you think he was serious when he was saying to you, like, "Oh, I'll film some content. They need that, right?" Do you think that was a serious
He
statement from him?
I mean, he was gonna send me videos regardless, because this is just, how he is. He sends my sister, we have, albums, because he asks us to post things to his Instagram and Facebook for him, so we have, the logins for that. But, yeah, I think he did know I was going, obviously, I was not gonna just post it without his permission. He would send things, and he would send one video, and then a couple minutes later, he'd be like, "No, this one." I'm like, "Okay, I'll post that one instead." But he hasn't seen the TikToks, in person at all. And
Yeah.
honestly, because he's in Italy, or he was in Italy, it he wasn't able to see some of the content that was being posted in the US, like the NBC Olympics post, he wasn't able to see because of the way it's blocked.
My
So,
gosh.
I think there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna have to catch up on. Um I don't think it really clicked for him until we were on a call and I said I was showing him my screen and I showed him that one of the videos, that the first video had 3.5 million views on it. And I think that was like the biggest reaction I've ever gotten out of him, where he was like, "Whoa, what? Like, are you for real?" Like he couldn't believe it. I just don't, yeah, I don't know that he has a grasp on it, honestly, like fully. And I don't,
Yeah.
I kind of like that though, because it's nice that like I can just post this and he can just go about being himself everywhere.
I asked that question. One of my teammates in college, her mom, everybody is single at the time, so her mom was like, "Oh, well, why don't you girls just message Prince Harry? He's single too." We were like, "That's not how this works." Right?
No.
But it's
I mean,
just this.
somebody commented, like, "This is what people expect when you apply." Like, they're like, "Oh, just to, like, go in and ask for a job," like, when you're applying for work. Like, just go in and hand in an application. That, yeah, that's kind of a similar thing. It's a different mindset completely, and with the internet, you really, one, you don't know how things are gonna go, like, in terms of views or engagement, but you also don't know how things are gonna go in terms of what side of the internet you're going to end up on. And I'm
Yes.
really grateful that, like, I mean, I think over the last year or so with the content that I've been posting about, like, my personal life, that I've ended up on a really wholesome and good and kind side of the internet. This isn't the first time that people have kind of shown up for me or for my family on TikTok. And so I'm just, like, in awe of, like, the power of just, like, just strangers want, I think people want to do good. Like, this is an example, this is a perfect example of, like, there's nothing in this that could divide people. It's just people wanting to do good, and, like, my dad is just, he's a golden retriever of a dude.
He is. Yeah, the comments have been even on the updates that I've shared from Hang Time's TikTok, people have been like, "This is our dad. This is what the internet was
Yeah.
created for." They're just all of the comments are so, so positive. The reaction, I have to feel
Yeah.
like, from your standpoint, is amazing.
Yeah, actually, he texted me yesterday. He was like, "Somebody came up and called me dad. Can you believe that?" I was like, "Yeah, I kind of can." He was like waiting
That's
for,
fantastic.
he was with like a news crew yesterday. They were following him around and they were standing outside of the bathroom, I guess, and somebody came out and said that to him. And then somebody else was like, "Hey, you're Olympic dad." And he was like, "What?" And so he's like shifted on his videos to saying, "Hey, I'm Olympic dad." Like yesterday, there were videos he was sending me. He was like, "Hey, it's me, the Olympic dad." It's like, okay. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I wanna get into more of, kinda your dad's story and how this has blown up and all the things, but this actually is not the first time that you have had a viral video related to the Olympics, ironically.
No.
So, you posted after the Paris Games, I think it was, and that has also over 1,000,000 views. Are you
Yeah.
in a space now where you're like, "Gosh, maybe just every Olympics, I'm gonna have some viral content?"
Yeah, well, actually, for that, for the Paris Olympics, I had a couple of viral videos because I made a spreadsheet that, I made a database that was just filtered for women's sports for folks to look at.
Mm.
And even more so, I had a tab that was just for like LGBTQ plus representation at the Olympics, so people could follow LGBTQ plus athletes. So I went through every single piece of, like, every single part of the schedule for the Paris Olympics and put together a spreadsheet that was just filtered by women's sports and women's events. So that was doing really well. And then after the Olympics were over, I just like felt like it was just such a good Olympics, you know, like there were so many powerful moments, so many firsts. Like it was, I was like, "I need to make an edit," and I really didn't make, I never make edits like that, and, yeah, so I, like, remixed "Femininomenon" by Chappell Roan and did that, but yeah, I think sports has always, women's sports has always been a passion for me, and I used to do a lot of videos about, like, media bias and the coverage and the growth and comparing even the growth of, like, different, like, professional leagues to the men's leagues, which is what people often want to talk about, which is an unfair comparison for so many reasons. I can get into that in another episode. But like, you know, there's just um there's so, it's surprising to me that people don't want to get interested in women's sports considering that it's just beginning, like the growth of it and the, I mean, if you look at it in the whole scheme of things, like compared to men's sports, it's just getting started. So like why not take a chance and just enjoy them and root for them? Like that's the difference, is that men's sports, divides, and women's sports really unites people. And that's why I love that environment so much.
It has been interesting. I literally just on Monday of this week, by the time the episode comes out, it will have been last week. My lecture in my ethics class was focused on gender disparity in media specifically. And so we're talking
Yeah.
about the growth that has happened in recent years. You know, we made this jump from somewhere from 3 to 5% up to now percent. And while it's a
Hmm.
great jump and a big jump in the last 5 years, it's still only 15% of media coverage. Men's sports are still getting 85%. And
Yeah.
so to your
And
point, it's been
no, sorry to interrupt, but Cheryl Cook, I think is her name, at Purdue, who does a lot of these studies and does a lot of research. I highly recommend reading her papers on uh, gender bland coverage in particular.
okay.
That's like always that's been very fascinating to me to follow. But yeah, but now you're seeing that there are like networks and there are channels and there's media coverage, kind of like the gist that's like seeking out to have equality. Sorry to go off topic, but yeah, if you compare the 27th year of the NBA to the 27th year of the WNBA, there's a lot of similarities. The NBA had been in debt, and then they had Magic Johnson and Larry Bird as rookies, and you have the 27th year, and that was Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and obviously you bring in
Mhm.
the racial. Kind of like the way that the media plays into that, which is really unfortunate because it takes away from all the other athletes. But they were also some of the best rookies you could have asked for. And so that 27th year was a turning point for the WNBA in a very similar way to the NBA's turning point. So the MNBA, as I like to call it. So yeah,
Yeah,
I could talk
exactly.
about this stuff. I geek out over women's sports, and I'm a huge defender of that because I like to go toe to toe with dudes who are like, well, why do you watch women's sports? Like, blah. I and I've gotten a lot of guys. I was in a bar here in Montreal watching the NWSL semifinals, and I was able to get some people to like get into it with me. Some guys that it was unfortunate because I was like, oh, it's Trinity Rodman, it's Dennis Rodman's daughter. But then they were like, well, I'm gonna watch it now if that's Dennis Rodman's daughter. It's
Yeah.
still kind of cool. I'm a big advocate. And my dad has always
Yeah.
been that way too. Like we text whenever NWSL, or if he can get the Premier League ones, the Barclays Women's League on.
Mhm.
I'm an Arsenal fan, and he leans towards Chelsea, but it's okay. I'm not gonna fault him for it.
This is a great segue because it's one of where I want to go next. So since the video has blown up, you have talked a little bit. You shared another video talking about your dad and why he's the absolute best person that this could happen to. You shared that he, would take you and your sister to women's sports events as you were growing up. How much of an impact did that have on you as or at a young age? And then maybe also if you want to share or elaborate anything else on the video you shared about your dad and why he's so great to be the official Olympic dad.
Yeah, I think it was really both of my parents. My mom's unfortunately not with us anymore, but my mom was like the coolest. Her party trick was she could do a handstand on a skateboard like down the driveway. She was a gymnast
Amazing.
actually, and she was in an era where there was like Title IX and stuff that there. I don't want to get into it too much, but there was a school that she was going to for gymnastics, a D1 school that she was uh, competing for their gymnastics team. She got injured, and because of some of the lack of protections from Title IX at the time, her scholarship was revoked, so she had to leave college. Um, and so I think my mom kind of instilled a lot of that passion in my dad for women's sports too. Um, and my dad has had 3 sisters growing up, and so I think that always makes a difference too. When you have, sisters, you become very protective, and then his niece, was a basketball player, won state championship in high school, ended up going to college and playing, D1 basketball as well. Our neighbor ended up going to the WNBA, and so I think I was very lucky. My neighbor's name was Katie Sharp. I was very lucky that I also grew up around a lot of people who could provide my dad an example of this being a potential path for his kids. I also grew up in an era where there was Serena Williams and Venus Williams, and the 99ers and like, ice skating. And so my dad would see these sports and be like, "Do you want to try this out? Do you want to try this out?" I lived right by the playground, by the field, and if the boys were out playing baseball or football, my dad actually would encourage me to go and play out there. He was like, "That's the best way that you're gonna get to be good, is if you compete with the boys." And like,
Okay.
I never really thought of that, like, 'cause I but I it's also one of those things where you reflect on it, you're like, "Wait, there were no other girls that were doing that." All the other girls were going to ballet or gymnastics or figure skating, or they would play soccer, but my dad brought up a really good point. He coached my sister's soccer teams, he coached my softball teams, he brought up a really good point that when my sister was playing soccer in the early '90s, there were 6 recreational teams in her league. And now it's like there are wait lists for people to get their girls, their daughters onto soccer teams. My dad's team won the championship 2 years in a row, so he's very proud of that.
Love it.
It made a huge difference. It made a huge difference that my dad would scour, the newspaper or in the early days of, like, having internet access, go onto websites and, the, US I think it was, like, the US Softball, like, Association, he would look for these clinics to take me to. He was a really tough coach, like a really tough coach. He trained my sister and I as if we were college athletes, and I really appreciate that, but he also made sure that we earned every, like, piece of our gear, like, if it was from our allowance or if it was through babysitting or having a lemonade stand. If we wanted to take up a new sport, we had to show that we were truly dedicated to it, and so we would have to, like, get our first glove or get my first tennis racket or get our first cleats. He didn't just buy me cleats that were for boys either, like, I think it was L Leah Fernandez had softball cleats that came out at one point, and I felt like it was like the Michael Jordan sneakers for me, like, I felt like I was so powerful wearing those, and I wanted them so bad, and my dad they were blue and white. My dad got them for me, and I cried. I was so excited that I got those cleats, and, like, that's the impact of representation when you have, like, these athletes who have their
Mhm.
own brand deals, who have, who are out there showing you that you're capable. I wrote several reports about professional athletes, and I had a teacher at one point tell me that Mia Hamm wasn't a professional athlete, that, like, I couldn't do a report
No.
about Mia Hamm because she played at an amateur level. And I was in elementary school, so I'm like, "Why are we really nitpicking at this point?" But I still did it, like, I still did it anyways, but, like, it's just these are the things. My dad was the one who helped me campaign to be class president in elementary school, and, when kids were like, "Girls can't be president," and I won, and I became, my school president and stuff, and it's just telling your kid that they are capable of doing things on the home front, even when everybody outside is telling them that they're incapable of doing it, is the most powerful thing because that means that that parent is not listening to what other people are telling them on the outside. That means that that parent is hearing all of that and wants to protect their kid from it and say, "Well, you know what? You could be the first. Why not you? Why not you? Why can't you do this? Like, what's stopping you?" And so it's been really exciting for all of us, my sister and my dad and I, to really watch this trajectory and this growth together and get to, like,
Mhm.
eat up every piece of women's sports that has become available to us that we've all kind of wanted because it used to be that we would only really get this during the Olympics or through newspaper articles or blog posts, and now we can actually watch this stuff and text each other and have watch parties, and it's like yeah, I think it feels like the childhood dreams that I had that, like, my dad kind of told me would happen are coming true, and that's really awesome. It's awesome that he gets to see it and we get to experience it together.
Yeah, I love that so much. The last time I looked, your original video, and you just mentioned, has now over 3.5 million views. So
Yeah.
since then, we talked a little bit about the gist, picked up your dad as the official dad of the Olympics. I think NBC also named him, right, like senior
Senior
dad
correspondent dad,
correspondent.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
so great, and then Hilton and Delta have, of course, have come on board and helped to extend his stay so that he could, stay in Milan and continue covering the games from his point of view, which has been fantastic. What
Yeah.
have you been hearing from him about maybe for folks who aren't on TikTok, what have you been hearing from him about his experiences in Milan?
Oh, man. I'm just so happy for him. Yesterday, he was at the semifinal match, and, he was stopped constantly. He was being followed by actually a production team from, like, the Olympic broadcasting, service, and they're doing, like, a piece on him.
Amazing.
And then NBC stopped him for an interview with, like, the mini mic, and, there was a CBC person that also, like, met up with him, but then he got to meet the USA women's hockey team families. and I think he got a photo with the dads
Awesome.
too, and he was just I think he got to meet Aaron Jackson too, which he was, like, really excited about, so he is having the best time, and he can't believe it, and I don't think it's gonna settle for a little bit because this stuff doesn't happen to him. He was offered to extend to the finals. I thought it was because he was tired, but he was at the airport and he called me. He went through security, called me. He was like, I would have stayed, but I really just don't want to feel greedy. I don't want to feel like I'm a mooch, and I
Mm,
feel bad that I'm taking all this free stuff right now. And because he just he's not used to this, and it's overwhelming for him in that regard. Um, and I understand that, and I wanna protect my dad too, like, I don't want him to ever feel, like, uncomfortable, um, but Hilton and Delta both, like, I've been talking to their social teams and stuff. They're the kindest people, they have done everything, like, gone above and beyond, and I had a hospitality background, I've worked in customer service, guest services, I've worked for Hilton hotels before, actually, and so yeah, Delta hooked my dad up with the flights and the tickets to the semifinals and the swag bag. He got the swag bag the day that he got back from his phone being stolen too, and it was just a really
right.
nice way to end the day. I'm in disbelief. I don't think a lot of this stuff has clicked for me either. When my dad was texting me, he was like, "Hey, I'm in a room with a guy like Jason. He's a football player." I was like, "You talking about Jason Kelsey?" He was like, "Oh yeah, 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 that one." I was like, "Okay, yeah, okay, cool, awesome." Like, and yeah, but he also has had me writing down everybody's name because he wants to send letters and postcards, and he wants to send thank you gifts. Like, he doesn't understand people are just doing this because, he doesn't have to do that, but it's just the guy he is. He makes it look so easy to be, like, a good
Yeah.
person.
Right. The idea that your dad would know who Aaron Jackson, speed skater Aaron Jackson, and, Hillary Knight, captain
Yeah,
of the USA women's hockey team is, but not Jason Kelsey, I think speaks to why he's the perfect dad to be the official
truly.
dad of the Winter Olympics.
To be fair, he grew up a Cleveland Browns fan, so, like, he has a
Okay, this is fair.
disdain for the NFL in general. I actually have a video clip of him going on a rant. I didn't post it, of him going on a rant against men's sports. He was like, "There's just too much ego, there's too much greed, I just can't stand it." He was like, "You people need to watch women's sports. It's just" like, he just went on, like, a 3-minute rant about it. I was like, "Yeah, dad, I mean, you're kinda mansplaining right now, but I get it. Yeah, I totally understand."
Right.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so is he finished with his Olympic trip? Is he headed home now, or he's still over there and he's going to a couple more things?
He's heading home right now. He sent me
Okay,
some of his, final videos from the airport, which are Um, he was excited there was a store just dedicated to pasta at the Milan airport, so he took me on a tour of pasta.
nice.
But then he has 3 separate videos of thank yous to all the people that were involved in this whole
I
trip.
love it.
So, um, yeah, and then I think his family's gonna meet him at the airport. My aunt is gonna my dad is one of 5 siblings. It's just him and his sister left now. Both his parents passed away, and then our it was a huge family growing up, and it's shrunk quite a bit, but they really are good at being a good support system for each other, and so my Aunt Kathy, I think, is arranging for people to meet him at the airport, like, do a welcome thing for him at the airport,
That's awesome.
um, and then, yeah, I think we were already planning on going to the women's soccer match, the US women's national team game in, Columbus, because anytime that
Awesome.
they play in Columbus since, like, 1999, we've gone to see them play, even in 2019 when it was freezing cold, but it was a great match, yeah, so that's always been, like, our tradition is if the US women's national team is in town, we go see them play, so this year should be no different, but now I'm realizing it's so like, time has flown by with this Olympics stuff happening
Mhm.
that I'm like, "Oh my god, I need to get tickets," so I'm gonna be getting some tickets for that today, for sure.
I love it. I love it. Official dad, Richard, official dad of the Winter Olympics. He's been such a gift to all of us on TikTok or otherwise. It's been so fun to follow his experiences over there. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing him with us.
No, thank you for following it. I mean, without you and everybody else who has really embraced my dad, none of this on his dream trip could have been possible, so thank you all.
Absolutely. All right. I always ask my guests on Hang Time if you could get some hang time with any woman in sports, who would it be and why?
They have to be living.
It can be anybody.
Okay.
We've had both.
Ooh, I have a whole list, but, Babe Didrikson, I'm just
Okay.
fascinated by Babe Didrikson. I don't know if you know who that is, but they're a very mask presenting woman. They ended up marrying a guy, but they won a ton of Olympic medals for swimming back in the day. They did have a female partner too, but, like, it wasn't spoken about. They also won a record amount of medals for golf at that time, played basketball, like, they were just all she was an all-American, like, athlete, you
All
know?
the sports.
Alice Coachman has also fascinated me for a long time. She was the first, Black female to win an Olympic gold medal, like, period. She set the record for the high jump too at the time, and this was in 1948. She came from Georgia, like, she practiced she, um she actually, like, would practice her running barefoot on dirt roads in Georgia, and so you think about, like, the segregation and, like, what she went up against to even get on to an Olympic team or have those opportunities in 1948. Th
Mhm.
I would love to meet Alice Coachman. There's a lot, I mean, and also I wanna shine light on, like, some of the Paralympians, like, like, there's, Trisha Zorn, who's a legend to the Paralympics. I think it was, like, 55 medals, in swimming, and she's blind,
Gosh.
including in the backstroke, and I can't do the backstroke at all. Like, I will always hit the rings on either side, but, um and so, like, I'm really excited to watch the biathlon in the Paralympics too. Biathlon is my personal favorite winter sport. Um, and then if I could meet anybody else, it would probably be like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi because I wanna hear the Spy Who Signed Me story in person. I
Mm.
wanna just know that I've listened to the podcast about it. A lot of soccer players though, like, Rapinoe, we have the same birthday, Katie McCabe, Christine Sinclair from Canada. Um and then the idols, Serena Williams and Billie Jean King. So
Of
those would be
course.
all of those. I wanna just have them all around a table, and we could just chat, and I'll
Yeah.
just be in awe of the greatness that I'm surrounded by.
I would like to be invited to
Okay,
that hang
yeah,
time.
I'll
It sounds
send
like
you
a
an
great
invite. We'll have
table.
to bring some people back from the dead, but otherwise, yeah, you're totally
Yes.
invited to that. Okay.
We'll get, what do you call it? Like a medium. We can get a medium involved
Yes.
to help make
Oh,
sure
the
everybody's
good
there.
one. We'll get a good one. That Hollywood
That's
medium.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
definitely.
That's right. I love it. All right. Well, Bex, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come and get some hang time and share your dad's story as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing my dad's story. I appreciate you. Have a good one.
Absolutely. All right. Last question I have for you.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Where can they get involved? Where can they follow you? Can they follow your dad? What now that the Olympics have by the time the episode's out, by the Olympics will have ended. So where can they follow along or support?
So you can follow me on Instagram at InstaBex. I'm going to start to post a little bit more on there. My dad has an Instagram too. I'm sure he's going to start posting on there. It's Kylie.Richard. He just learned how to post reels on there. So just be patient with him. It's going to be a little. He posted like the same video multiple times. Um, I'm going to probably start him. He loves YouTube travel vlogs, and my sister and I have been telling him to have one for a while. So I am going to probably start him up a channel. I might start him up his own TikTok account as well. Um, but I'm on TikTok. It's a long username. It's just how did this get here with underscores in between each word. I never expected to post on TikTok, so stuck with that username. But I think that my dad and I are gonna have a conversation. He's got a lot of travels coming up. He bartends to use that money to go on these trips, and we were already planning a cross country road trip for later this year, and which would end in Seattle actually. So I think there's gonna be a lot more content where it's actually like him and I hanging out together and going to women's sports. We've been invited to Victoire and Torrent games for hockey. I already go to the Victoire games. I'm a Montreal Victoire
Amazing.
fan. He's more of a Torrent fan, but trying to pull him over.
Sure.
And definitely going to women's soccer this summer. I'll probably take him to some Gotham matches. I was a Washington Spirit season ticket holder, but look out for us at women's sporting events. Look out for us online. And if you see us, we are the types of people that we want you to say hi. I'm always about making connection and making community, and it's really important to me. I will never say no to a hello. That's what I always say. So please, if you see us, come over, have a chat with us. We'll talk shop, we'll talk sports, and my dad is definitely the kind of guy that you'll want to have a meal with after you start getting to talk to him. So um, I just really appreciate this community. It's really amazing, and follow along for the ride.
I love it. I'm gonna look forward to the YouTube channel and the travels and all the things.
Yeah,
All right, well, thank you again for joining us. This has been great.
thank you. Yeah, same to you.
All right, listeners, we will see you back in a couple of weeks. Until then, you can follow along at Hangtime P0D, pretty much anywhere you get your socials and anywhere you get your podcasts. We'll see you next time.